Tonight on CTV News at 6. It's a staggering amount.
We see a future for Algoma being a bedrock of the Canadian steel industry.
The federal and provincial governments throw Algoma Steel a lifeline. It's a devastating blow to Kapuskasing.
Where are you? Where is your plan for forestry?
Officials at Cap Paper say they are making plans to close. And marking the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
There are still, in Canada, over 80,000 survivors of residential schools.
Remembering a dark chapter in Canada's history.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you were with us on this Monday. Cap Paper announced today it will begin idling operations in Kapuskasing. In a news release, the company announced it would begin winding down operations. Cap Paper executives had been working toward federal loans through the Strategic Response Fund and says while those discussions were positive, the timing doesn't seem to be aligning. In a statement, Cap Paper CEO Terry Skiffington says, in part, we've done everything in our power to keep the mill operating, adding our employees are the best in the North, and our priority now is supporting them with dignity and clarity.
We received a letter from Melanie Joly on Friday indicating that they welcome participation in discussions around the facility in Kapuskasing and working towards a resolution to the issues that exist within the facility. And so, this announcement comes as a complete surprise. I certainly won't give up until they'll literally have to dig a hole and bury me in it. But I'm going to work as hard as I can to ensure that we come to a resolution.
President of Phenom, Danny Whalen, saying in a statement that the Cap Paper Mill is an anchor for our region's economy. Without urgent and coordinated intervention from both levels of government, we risk losing hundreds of jobs, destabilizing communities, and undermining Ontario's forestry sector. Whalen does go on to say he recognizes the contributions the provincial government has made in the past, but says more is needed. According to Phenom, 30% of Ontario Northland Transportation Commission revenue depend on Cap Paper and its partner mills. The provincial government also making a statement today taking aim at the federal government. Minister of Natural Resources Mike Harris and Kevin Holland, Associate Minister of Forestry and Forest Products, issued a statement today saying, in part, we have continuously pushed the federal government to come to the table as an equal partner, standing up for Canadian forestry jobs, and adding they are deeply disappointed that the federal government has failed to join us in providing the immediate support required. The province had provided more than $50 million in financial support.
My colleague here, Guy Bourgoin, was alerting us to what's happening there this morning. That's, I think, 300 more families that are going to possibly lose their jobs and their life savings. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. But again, we have been very clear with the government. Where are you? Where is your plan for forestry?
Mushkegowuk James Bay MPP Guy Bourgoin sent a letter to Doug Ford saying it's not only jobs in Kapuskasing being hit by Cap Paper's announcement today, but much of the area he serves. He called on Ford to take action, saying provincial leadership is essential in securing the mill's future. 300 jobs, as you just heard, are affected. 39 full and part-time Timmins transit workers have rejected a tentative agreement reached Friday and are now on strike. The city's chief administrative officer says officials with CUPE Local 1544 have not let him know when the two sides can return to the bargaining table. However, Dave Landers says the strike is affecting hundreds of students traveling to and from college, people going to work, and individuals who have medical appointments.
We think that we offered a fair contract. We had offered adjustments to wages right off the start, and then an economic increase on top of that. So, I mean, in year one, a driver would have been looking at about a 7.5% salary increase. And, I'm not sure how they reject that deal or how we restructure something moving forward, but we'll wait to hear from them.
And CTV reached out to QP 1544 but did not receive a response by our broadcast. For those impacted by the strike, the city says to visit timmins.ca for the latest information. Meanwhile, the largest employer in Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma Steel, is getting $500 million from the federal and provincial governments. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has the details.
We need Algoma Steel to survive and thrive.
Ottawa is contributing $400 million, with the Ontario government adding $100 million for a critical loan to help Algoma Steel weather the storm from American tariffs. The significant price tag means that the steelmaker will remain viable, even with the door closed to an American market that previously made up the majority of its business.
We see a future for Algoma being a bedrock of the Canadian steel industry, and we see that future even if the 50% tariff remains as a permanent or long-term feature of the trading relationship.
With Algoma being the country's only Canadian-owned steelmaker, Haidu says they were at the top of the list for federal support.
We do have other steel companies in Canada. They're not Canadian-owned. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if we don't have Canadian-owned steel companies, then we are vulnerable to the whims of other countries, other markets, and we can't have that.
Neither Haidu nor Garcia would speak to the terms of the loan, but a government fact sheet on the large enterprise tariff loan outlines that 75% of the loan will need to be paid back in 7 years. Aside from simply staying afloat, the loan allows Algoma Steel to change operations in relation to market needs.
Right now, we don't have enough demand for our coil business, so we're going to be reducing some of that production going forward, and we have to understand what do we diversify to. Is it going to be beams? Is it going to be rail? Other forms of steel? And that's the work we're doing now.
Garcia says Algoma Steel has not secured any new contracts in recent months, but has had discussions with companies in both Canada and Europe. Once the electric arc furnace is producing low-carbon steel, he expects it will lead to more contract talks across the globe. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
In other news now, an 8-year-old child was killed following an ATV collision in Plummer Township, northwest of Thessalon. Emergency crews were called Friday evening to a field along Cloudsley Road where police say 2 ATVs collided. The child was ejected from the vehicle and was taken to the hospital in Thessalon. Despite the child having worn a helmet, they succumbed to their injuries. There was a fatal crash this morning on Highway 101 in Porcupine, east of Timmins. Provincial police say the collision involved a car and an SUV. Police say one person was taken to hospital where they were pronounced dead. The road is closed between Gervais Street north to Falcon Street in Porcupine. This stretch of road is expected to be shut down for an extended period of time. North Bay police have charged a 20-year-old man with impaired driving after 2 parked vehicles were struck early Saturday morning. Police say the driver lost control at a corner, leaving the road and striking 2 parked vehicles around 3 a.m. in the Marshall Park Drive area. The man fled the scene, but police were able to track him down. He was arrested and transported to hospital with minor injuries. The suspect has been charged with dangerous driving, failing to remain at the scene of an accident, and 2 impaired driving charges. Now to the weather. We are coming off a gorgeous weekend. Today wasn't too shabby either. Will the sunshine hold for the next few days? Here's CTV's Rick Wyman with that answer.
Tony, I haven't heard that in a while. Doesn't look too shabby. I like that. Let's start things off with our systems map right now. No hint of precipitation over the course of the next couple of days, according to Environment Canada. That's going to change by the end of the week. And again, we've got some cloud cover in the forecast for this evening, but gradual clearing. And you know what? It's shaping up to be a good 3 or 4 days, sunshine, sun and cloud and more in the forecast. So stick around. We'll talk about where you live and your forecast for the next couple of days. And Tony, the good thing about the forecast too is that temperatures are going to be on the upswing. So we'll have some warmer days and even some warmer nights, shades of what we saw earlier in September and even August. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. A quick note for families with students at MT Davidson Public School in Callander tonight. The Near North District School Board says MT Davidson will be closed tomorrow due to a water issue in the facility. Busing has been cancelled. A few more answers still to come on CTV News at 6. We head to the greater Sudbury community of Falconbridge for the fallout from a smelter. But first, here's a live webcam look at South River. This is courtesy of Northern Creations. Oh, there's a chicken. It's 22 degrees right now. We are back after this commercial break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Caused the dust to be released from the Glencore smelter in Falconbridge last week. In a release, the company says its preliminary investigation suggests about 1 cubic meter of dust was gradually released from the stack while the electrostatic precipitator, or ESP, was being cleaned as part of smelter maintenance. The dust, according to Glencore, was mainly made up of iron and silica. Public Health is also saying normal activities can resume in the community and say there is no contamination to drinking water. Officials also say take extra precautions if harvesting fruit or vegetables from your garden. They suggest wearing gloves while gardening or harvesting and washing produce thoroughly or with soap and water. A full list of recommendations can be found on the Health Unit's website. 3 technology and AI companies are receiving money from the federal government. The funding will support Circuit, IQ, Wave, and the Ontario First Nations Technical Services Corporation. CTV's Madison Merrier has more.
On behalf of FedNor Minister Patty Hadou, Sudbury's MP Vivian Lapointe made the announcement today.
I'm very pleased to announce a FedNor investment of close to $600,000 to support not 2, but 3 technology different initiatives.
3 northern companies received a repayable investment that they say is allowing for more technology growth.
We're just hoping that as we complete this project and launch new projects, we'll just be able to keep expanding and create job opportunities not only in Sudbury but also in just generally in Northern Ontario.
I know directly this is going to create 6 jobs just for the development of the technology, but the service that it's going to create hundreds of jobs.
There were 3 companies that we're investing in today, and as we know that they'll end up creating really good paying jobs right here in the north in our communities.
Each business says it's filling a nationwide gap in services utilizing artificial intelligence, including streamlining medical patient forms or finding a solution to electrical mapping systems.
Sudbury is becoming a hub for technology and innovation, and we're seeing that more and more. Some of the companies that we're investing in today actually moved their operations and brought them here to Sudbury because of that hub that we're creating. So these investments are really important.
The funding lets us move as fast as possible, lets us access really great talent and compensate them so that they are happy here in Northern Ontario.
The 2 technology companies have plans for growth and product implementation over the next few years, crediting the funding from the federal government for assisting in their process. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Tomorrow marks the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Canadians will recognize the long-lasting, multi-generational effects of the residential school system. Ahead of the symbolic day, the City of North Bay raised the Every Child Matters flag. Details now from CTV's Eric Tashner.
A gentle breeze blows the Every Child Matters flag, so the words are visible for all to see.
There are still in Canada over 80,000 survivors of residential schools.
The city raised the flag in front of a crowd of about 50 wearing orange shirts, reflecting on the lessons, how to heal and move forward. Morris Switzer spoke about his grandfather's escape from an industrial training school, part of the residential school system.
My grandparents eventually had about 72 grandchildren, and including me, and we don't know if that would have been the case if he hadn't run away.
Switzer is challenging everyone to learn about the 94 calls to action that came from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, which acknowledge the full horrifying residential school history and aims to create systems to prevent these abuses from ever happening again.
We all want Canada to be better, and the best way, there's an old saying in strategic planning that unless you know where you come from, you can never really know where you're going.
The latest census from 4 years ago finds a little over 10% of North Bay's population identifies as Indigenous. So the city started mandatory Indigenous learning for its staff members.
We feel that it's important that all of our staff are aware because that's the only way that healing happens.
The North Bay Indigenous Friendship Centre will be holding a walk to the waterfront tomorrow morning, followed by a short ceremony.
Take time to reflect on, how lucky we are as Canadians to share the land.
There are sad chapters in history, but how Indigenous peoples have rebounded.
And while tomorrow will bring some sadness and pain for some, there's also hope for a brighter future. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
A Juno-nominated musician from Northern Ontario is part of a program designed to bring Indigenous music and storytelling to classrooms right across Canada. CTV's Amanda Hicks has his story.
The song is called Kayash, a Cree word for before. It was born on the lands of Kapuskasing First Nation, where roots rocker Adrian Sutherland calls home.
It's tradition to honor our ancestors and the people that came before us, not only the people that came before us, but the people that are here today and are going to follow in our footsteps as well.
Sutherland's song will be featured in a curriculum-based program called Ancestors' Voices, an initiative created by the Coalition of Music Education in Canada. The free resource showcases Indigenous voices year-round in honor of National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
We're, so happy to spotlight, Adrian's music and Indigenous voices. And of course, the program is all, Adrian's words, and then an Indigenous music educator does the learning guide.
Now in its second year, Sinclair says the program saw a great response last year.
We had 83,000 students registered to access the materials. So we were absolutely blown away by the response. Our goal was 10,000 students, so that was about close to 500 schools that had signed up.
As Kayash reaches classrooms nationwide, Sutherland says it's not just a lesson in music, but a vital step in preserving the Cree language.
It's also important for me as a language speaker to help do my part in protecting the language, and hopefully, these songs will live on and people can go back and listen and learn.
To ensure Indigenous stories and spirit resonate with a new generation. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
And back now for a check on your current conditions. Here's Rick.
Beautiful night, Tony. We've had some great nights before. We've got a streak going on right now with a beautiful night. Our forecast radar, first of all, not much to complain about really, with no precipitation. So again, that's a good sign. Some cloud cover overnight, but there will be clearing for tomorrow. Sunshine is coming. Let's have a look and see what's happening right across the northeast. Mainly sunny in Moosonee, Cochrane, some sun and cloud. Timmins, mainly sunny skies. Kapuskasing, some sun and cloud as well. Take a look at the temperatures: 18, 21, 20, even 15 for Moosonee, 24 in Chapleau with the Humidex as well. Sunshine in Wawa, sunshine in Sault Ste. Marie at 26. So again, a great night happening across the northeast. Sun and cloud in Parry Sound at 21. Have a look now at Kirkland Lake, 22. Temiskaming Shores, 27. That's with the Humidex, of course, in North Bay at 22 as well. So some strong temperatures for this time of the year. 25 Greater Sudbury, mainly sunny Espanola, sunshine Elliott Lake, and Gore Bay. I'm thinking Newfoundland, Gore Bay, sun and cloud at 22. Yes, here we are. We'll have the 7-day forecast, Tony, coming up.
Thanks, Rick. It's a major disruption. Next on CTV News at 6. Small businesses are feeling the pinch of the Canada Post strike. Where do they turn? And the death toll in Michigan is climbing after a shooting and a fire at a church. The strike at Canada Post has been a major disruption for small businesses that rely on the post office to get their products out. And Canadians frustrated again with yet another strike. CTV's Garrett Berry takes a look at how some are dealing with the latest standoff between Canada Post and its workers.
Even if her store in St. John's is closed, Sunday is still a working day for Dia Dreve.
I mean, we're always here looking at our stock and seeing what we should be promoting for the upcoming week.
Today, those questions are a bit tougher because a big, lucrative arrival is stuck in the mail.
And it's about $20,000 in sales that we would be benefiting from over the next couple of months. And it will get here eventually. It's just that nobody knows, and it's just a big, uncertain situation.
Strike action brought by CUPW, the union representing Canada Post workers, has brought thousands of shipments across the country to an immediate halt, and a new round of headaches to small businesses who rely on Canada Post's services.
To use those other courier companies, I would have to drive in excess of 2 hours to drop those parcels off.
In the rural Newfoundland town of Triton, where Lisa Chatsakiru has set up her fabric business, Canada Post is the only game in town. During last year's labor dispute, she lost about $7,000 worth of sales. She says it's not clear if she could weather a storm like that again.
We're really going to take a hit because it affects me as a small business, hiring local community members, students in rural Newfoundland.
Tonight, it's back to the drawing board to come up with some creative solutions to this newest challenge.
We're going to try and promote some of the products in unique ways and perhaps have some sales that will hopefully drum up the business.
But with no updates from Canada Post or its workers today, the prospect of a long-term work stoppage remains a frightening one, leaving the future of businesses like this shrouded in uncertainty. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister was at the United Nations today, Anita Anand, trying to push the message that Canada is a stable and reliable partner in both business and collective security. It comes as Canada is moving in a different direction than the United States, which is withdrawing from its role as a global leader. Anand also spoke out against Russia's invasion of Ukraine, calling it a grave breach of the UN Charter.
Russia's aggression, attacks on civilians, and abduction of children are flagrant violations of international law. Putin believed Ukraine would fall in 3 days. 3.5 years later, Ukraine still stands, its sovereignty intact, its people unbowed, its courage unbroken. Canada's position is clear. Putin cannot be permitted to redraw boundaries at his will.
Anand also spoke about the war in Gaza, calling on Hamas to lay down their weapons and to release all remaining hostages. Police have identified the man suspected of killing at least 5 people in a mass shooting at a church in central Michigan. The suspect is Thomas Sanford, a 40-year-old former U.S. Marine from a nearby town. On Sunday morning, a man crashed his vehicle through the front doors of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township and opened fire. Investigators provided an update earlier this afternoon.
In the past 24 hours, our investigative squads and specialty teams have been out all night, exhausting leads, some of which have been coming in from the public via tips. Our special agents, victim specialists, child advocate forensic interviewers, and local partners have interviewed over 100 victims and witnesses to date and are continuing to interview individuals as we speak.
Investigators say the suspect also set fire to the church before he was killed in a shootout with police. 8 other people were hospitalized. Some church members remain unaccounted for. So far, police have not found a motive for the shooting. U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening to impose a 100% tariff on all movies made outside the United States. This would have a big impact on Canada's movie-making business, especially in Ontario, BC, and Quebec. In an early morning post, Trump lashed out at other countries for stealing, quote, candy from a baby. He then slammed the governor of California for being, quote, weak and incompetent. Trump says to solve what he calls a long-time, never-ending problem, he's imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside the U.S. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Tony, it's a great night to cut the grass, but we can't do that because it'll be dark by the time we get home, and that's all about the change coming up with the time and the season. But it is a beautiful night. If you want to start your lawn right after the weather forecast, you should have enough time. Forecast radar, we've got some cloud cover moving into some areas of the northeast, but of course we'll have some clearing, mainly sunny skies in the forecast as you were about to see. So all in all, a great looking night. And of course the temperatures, well, what the heck. A few clouds in Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie clear, Timmins few clouds, more of the same Temiskaming Shores and North Bay as well. So Moosonee for this evening, partly cloudy. Caphurst, partly cloudy, a few clouds. Wawa, Gore Bay, a few clouds, and clear in Parry Sound. Nice night, I kid you not. Little cool in some areas. Sudbury Nickel Belt, we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so some sunshine, some sun and cloud Thursday at 19. Clouds roll in Saturday. Remember I said about precipitation? Well, Saturday clouds, Sunday chance of showers, daytime high of 20. Meanwhile, in the Sioux and Algoma, mainly sunny tomorrow. Wednesday, some sun and cloud. Thursday, sun and cloud. Friday, sunshine. Take a look at the temperatures. 19, 21, 20, and 25. Saturday, cloud cover at 22. Chance of showers. Here we go on Sunday. May be wet, may not be wet. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. We've got sunshine for 3 consecutive days. Chance of showers on Friday at 24. Cloud cover Saturday, then chance of showers on Sunday. So people say, Rick, what's up with the 30% stuff? Well, may rain, chance of rain. We'll see what happens. 24 for a couple of days and 21 on Sunday, all well above normal. Meanwhile, in Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, sunshine for a couple of days at 16, 17, bumped up to 20 and 24 Thursday, Friday. I like that. Even 26 on Saturday with the sun and cloud. Should be a great day there. And Sunday again, here we go, chance of showers at 23, 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. So the early start to October looks real good, and more sunshine come next Monday. How about North Bay West Nipissing? Count them. 1, 2, 3, and 4 consecutive days of sunshine. 17, 19, 23. Saturday, some sun and cloud at 24. Chance of showers on Sunday at 22. So that's pretty well the story for at least Sunday. Chance of showers. In some cases, you might get the chance early or a day or two earlier, depending where you live. And again, those temperatures above normal. So get ready for that. Let's have a look at our pick of the day now. Talk about getting your ducks in order. It's a tried, tested, and true expression. And Mike Prue comes through once again, Rice Lake near Iroquois Falls. Count the ducks. It's a nice lineup, and they're all in order. Perhaps your pick could be on tomorrow. Just give the code a scan. You never know. Stick around. Tony has more news coming up after the break.
More now on the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, which is happening tomorrow. To talk more about the plans at Laurentian University, let's bring in Mary Lohr, the Director of Indigenous Sharing and Learning Center. She now joins us from Sudbury. Hi there, Mary.
Hi, good day. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks very much. Give our viewers an idea as to what is happening on the LU campus tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're having the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation Symposium. This is an annual event that we have at Laurentian University. So we're having a sacred fire in the morning at 8 a.m. and everyone is welcome to join us. We also have a Truth and Reconciliation report card. So we do this annually at Laurentian to gauge the temperature of how we're moving toward the task force recommendations that had been set out several years ago. And we have to say that by and large, we're doing well and meeting the requirements that have been asked of us by community members. We also have guest speaker Kimberly Murray, who's a national scholar at Queen's University. Her role started this year in January 1st, 2025, after completing a federal appointment as the independent special inoculator for missing children and unmarked graves and burial sites associated with Indian residential schools. So we're very fortunate for her to come and share her knowledge with us. And she's dedicated much of her career to promoting reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples, as well as advocating for Indigenous communities.
Mary, you talked about report cards, right?
Yeah.
So what more needs to be done to improve the relationship then?
One of the areas that we are moving toward, and this is not just at Laurentian, this is across the board, and where we have opportunities for staff and faculty to meet some of their research needs, and as well as employment needs, etc. So this is not at Laurentian only, but this is across the board that I believe most institutions are working toward better relationships in that way.
And how does Laurentian create a welcoming atmosphere for Indigenous students, some whom have traveled, hundreds, maybe thousands of kilometers just to attend a post-secondary institution like Laurentian?
At Laurentian University, we have the Indigenous Sharing and Learning Center, as well as the Indigenous Student Affairs Office. So in the Indigenous Sharing and Learning Center, we try to create that space that feels like home. We have the round room where the events will be taking place, and has a lot of wood. It has that reminiscent feel of a learning lodge. We also have study spaces. We host cultural events and activities for students. The academic side, we have students who are able to access learning strategists and navigators, as well as cultural engagement coordinators. We also ensure that we have symposium like this. We have a SAGE for graduate students where their research voices can be amplified.
Mary, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Mary Lohr was our guest, and to see more of what Laurentian has planned for the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, head to laurentian.ca. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe officially apologized for the province's role in the historical abuse and trauma that occurred at a residential school for Métis and First Nations children today. The Premier says the province has agreed to pay more than $40 million to former students of Île-à-la-Crosse and their families.
And under this agreement, we acknowledge that there were individual and cultural harms and abuses that were suffered by former students of the Île-à-Crosse school. Going forward, this agreement will form the very principle, and it's going to form the basis of a comprehensive settlement with the former students of the Île-à-Crosse school. This agreement is made in the spirit of building a positive relationship and promoting reconciliation for the historical injustices and challenges that have been faced by all too many Métis and Indigenous people.
The school operated north of Saskatoon from the 1820s until the 1970s when it burned down. School survivors say they were banned from speaking their language and would be beaten if they did, which resulted in a loss of their culture and identity. As car manufacturers try to make vehicles more efficient, many are now removing the spare tire, which can be a surprise if you get a flat. The car may have a smaller donut-sized tire, but many only come with an inflator kit, which may not be enough to get you going if the tire is badly damaged. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
Sally Jerkaba and James Dawson of Oshawa were on a holiday in Spain last fall. They rented a car and stopped to get supplies, but when they went back to their rental, two people were acting suspicious around the vehicle. They got on the highway, and 20 minutes later, they had a flat.
We both looked at each other and said, "No one's coming to help. Let's change the tire."
But when they went to get the spare tire out of the trunk, they got a surprise.
He opens the hatch, pulls out all the luggage, lifts up the cover, and there's no tire.
I was frankly shocked. Growing up in Canada, we always have a spare tire.
While they were trying to deal with the flat tire, a man came out of long grass on the side of the road claiming he could help.
He was pretending to be a good Samaritan. Someone came out of the culvert, an accomplice of his opened the door and grabbed my purse with our passports, all our documents, money, and grabbed James's camera bag.
The couple was left stranded for the next 7 hours. They couldn't get through to Avis, their rental company. We also reached out to Avis but did not get a response. On the company's website, it says the manufacturer may not have equipped your car with a spare tire. They may provide an inflator and seal kit. You should check the vehicle before you leave with the car.
We had the assumption that there would be a spare tire.
Lisa Glass and Matt Barber of Toronto vacationed in Newfoundland this summer. They rented a car and also got a flat tire. They were shocked to find out the car did not come with a spare.
The last thing anyone wants is to be stuck on the side of a road in a remote area with no cell phone service, with no spare.
Jerkaba and Dawson wanted to share their story, not just to warn about rental cars not having spares, but also to beware of criminals who may give you a flat tire so they can rob you on the side of the road.
It's not worth fighting over camera gear or personal belongings. It's personal safety that matters.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Dozens of Starbucks locations across Canada were shut down over the weekend. It's part of the company's billion-dollar restructuring strategy, but employees and customers are taking issue with the lack of notice before the store closures. CTV's Kamal Karamali reports.
This Starbucks location near one of the busiest intersections in Toronto, closing its doors for good today. One of dozens of Starbucks stores across the country shutting down.
It's a staple in the neighborhood. It was one of the first ones, and it's disappointing that they're closing.
Starbucks said it is closing 1% of its North American stores. That equates to roughly 400 locations, laying off around 900 non-retail employees, shutting down stores where they were unable to create the physical environment our customers and partners expect, or where we don't see a path to financial performance. Starbucks wouldn't say how many Canadian locations are closing, but employees have confirmed dozens of stores are shutting down across the country. Retail analysts say they saw these closures coming after sales had been dropping for 6 straight quarters, with people no longer as keen to pay higher prices for coffee.
The value proposition has diminished. I mean, there's a lot of competitors now who are more, I mean, Tim Hortons is the most famous in Canada, and the coffee is very, very significantly less expensive on a per cup basis.
Starbucks says it still operates more than 18,000 locations across North America while working to improve the design of about 1,000 of those. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
A video gaming company is being sold. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. How much is the deal worth to purchase EA, and who's buying it?
Clothing consideration provided by
Fashion Fair. Beautiful clothing for today's woman, where quality makes the difference.
With the help of some northern talent, a big circus event is coming to Sudbury. Cirque d'Hiver is coming to the Caruso Club November 13th, entertaining guests with dance, acrobatics, suspended performances, and more.
Over the last several months, we put this event together. I believe there's 11 performers, and it's going to be quite an exciting evening with the winter theme, Cirque d'Hiver. So like Cirque du Soleil, but a winter theme.
I'll be performing my circus shenanigans. I've been performing for 15 plus years now, so I've got a lot of tricks up my sleeve, if you will.
And proceeds will go toward the new location for the Art Gallery of Sudbury. Officials hope to move into the building by the end of 2026. The 11th annual Winter Clothing Drive is about to get underway in Sudbury. Cooper Equipment and Our Children, Our Future collect winter coats, snowsuits, boots, and more for families in need. Over 150,000 winter clothing items have been collected and distributed over the years of the campaign. This year's collection starts October 18th. A St. Charles couple is set to retire after winning Sudbury's Health Sciences North 50-50 lottery. Nancy Trottier and her husband Frank have been supporting the HSN Foundation for years. The couple won a little more than $440,000, which they say they'll use to help their kids, but also to kick back and spend some time together, with Frank announcing his retirement when they picked up their check. The couple says they will continue to support the hospital and its fundraiser. It's time to recap the weekend that was in the OHL. Let's start Friday night in Kingston, where it was a barn burner between the Sioux Greyhounds and the Frontenac's.
McGowan behind his net. Tried to make the short feed to Williamson, but it was blocked. Smith trying to bring it out front. Williamson put it right onto the stick and off.
This little tip-in more than halfway through the first period would end up being Jordan Charon's second goal of the night. There was a lot of back and forth, and it would come down to a shootout for these two. Greyhounds' Quinn McKenzie would be the only one of the 10 players in the shootout to score. Greyhounds take it 5-4. Sudbury Wolves were also on the road Friday night, and that game stung as Sarnia beat them 6-1. Sudbury would take another beating Saturday in Brantford, where the Bulldogs clocked a 7-2 victory, and the hits kept coming for Northern fans Sunday. The North Bay Battalion took an early penalty that the Kingston Frontenacs would capitalize on, winning that game 2-1. Meanwhile, the Greyhounds were in Ottawa. They limp away from that one as the 67s win 7-3. And here are the standings after a dozen games were played in the NOJHL this past weekend. The Hearst Lumberjacks continue to sit atop the standings with 14 points. The Powassan Voodoos and Espanola Paper Kings even at 10 points apiece, but Powassan has only lost one game out of the 6 they played. At the other end of the standings, the French River Rapids and the Sioux Eagles are yet to get a win. A new limited edition pack of Pokemon cards are on their way, and all hail the president, Allison Janney. That is, David Daniel brings us tonight's Hollywood Report.
A terribly flawed woman is now the president, and only we know just how flawed.
Flawed or not, Allison Janney is back for season 3 of The Diplomat and beyond. Netflix says Janney and her old West Wing pal Bradley Whitford will go from guest stars to series regulars in season 4, which begins production this fall. Netflix also announced Haunted Hotel will return for a second spooky season.
Building owner caught her vandalizing his property.
Ava, it's one of your dad's murals.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Tuesday's High Potential has Ava in trouble, and actress Amira J says that's just a taste of what's ahead for her character.
Ava kind of starts poking her nose where it doesn't belong and trying to be a detective in a way and try to figure things out herself and kind of go behind her mom's back a little bit, which doesn't make her mom very happy.
The Pokemon Company has released a limited edition pack for the Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket app. Deluxe Pack EX is available now through October 29th, with each pack guaranteed to include a card of 4 diamond rarity or higher. The app is available for Android and iOS devices. Catching them all in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
TD Bank unveiled its plan to build back after a money laundering scandal in the U.S. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more on that.
TD Bank is promising to slash costs and boost revenue under its new CEO. Raymond Chun is looking to deliver $2 to $2.5 billion in annual savings, in part by automating and using artificial intelligence. The bank is also looking to grow its wealth management business and plans to hire 1,200 new advisors in Canada. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 71.83. West Texas Intermediate crude is down over $2 to 63.01. Western Canadian Select is up to 53.73. And the TSX shot up to another record close, ending the day at 29,971. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $74.09, closing the day at $38.3391 US an ounce. Silver up 87 cents to end the day at $46.92. Copper moved forward 11 cents to $4.65, and nickel up 2 cents, ending the day at $6.83 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Tuesday weather.
Beautiful day for tomorrow, National Truth and Reconciliation Day, Tony. Let's take a look at some of the conditions. Greater Sudbury 17 with the sunshine. Timmins, well, clearing at 15. 20 in the Sioux, mainly sunny skies. Looking at North Bay 17, sunshine. Perry Sound 20, and of course, Temiskaming Shores, sunshine at 16. So favorable temperatures. It'll be a beautiful day tomorrow, just like it should be. Tony?
Thanks for that, Rick. Before we go tonight, we want to introduce you to a Canadian naval vet who's found a way to overcome adversity and be of service in a whole new way. CTV's Adam Sawatsky has his story.
Yvonne LaHoo doesn't need to watch a classic war movie on his phone.
My God, it was so well done.
To remember how the longest day inspired him as a kid to craft discarded cardboard into toy tanks.
And I would put a firecracker and make it realistic. I would blow the tank apart.
Yvonne never outgrew his interest in the military, and at 19 enlisted in the Navy.
I've never seen the ocean before, and this would be a great thing to see the world.
While he proudly served at sea for the next 30 years, Yvonne started struggling after he retired.
I was suffering from trauma and PTSD. My brain started playing tricks on me.
Until he happened upon this picture of a Second World War ship that he couldn't get out of his head.
Wow. The ship was named after my hometown, and I didn't know about this.
But Yvonne did feel, for the first time in a long time, inspired.
I says, I'm going to build it.
Had you ever built anything like this before?
No.
So he thought of how he once was as a kid, before contacting a naval museum, requesting a copy of the ship's blueprints, and started handcrafting countless components from wood and began building a boat from scratch.
The light bulb comes on, and I says, yes, and it works.
And after spending almost 500 hours in his garage, Yvonne felt transformed.
I was pretty amazed with myself on how it turned out.
So he made 8 more, supporting his recovery and inspiring a renewed sense of purpose through service.
To build as many lost or forgotten Canadian warships and bring them back to life.
And now Yvonne's donating his first model to his hometown and the others to museums to honor the sailors who worked on them and inspire the civilians served by them.
They all have a story to be told.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Surrey.
Wow, impressive art right there. And folks, that's CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. Thanks so much for watching. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Amanda Hicks. Good night.